am so happy to be back, and I am so thankful that you're here. If you're watching or listening right now, thank you for being here. It's been a while. 3 months and 13 days to be exact. And the little break wasn't necessarily planned, but I came to realize that it was much needed. And I just want to thank you guys, to those that reached out and checked in. I really appreciate you guys. And I apologize for not keeping y'all updated better. But I do appreciate your patience and your grace through this little sabbatical that I took. To just be honest, as I try to be, I just felt like I had no overflow to give y'all, and that everything that I was taking in from the Lord is what I needed to get through each day. We were going through a lot of transition, and I think I was just having a harder time with it than I realized. So I was struggling, and me and Trent had both talked, and we just came to the conclusion that a break might be what was best and what I needed, and I truly believe that it was. I mean, I was praying if this was even something God wanted me to continue. I really just felt like I needed to take a break, and I needed to just spend time with the Lord. And needless to say, I clearly heard God saying, yes, this is something that I want you to continue. And he was so kind and so intentional with me through this break. And he just really spoke to me, and I got to spend time just listening, and it was just good. And I am so happy and so excited to be back. God has been mightily moving these past few months, and I can't wait to get into that a little bit more, but I'm just really excited to be back and excited to be sharing our Thursdays together again. You may have noticed the garden got a little facelift. We got some new pictures done. Shout out to Reagan Hillebrand Photography. At this point, honestly, I think I just need to put her on retainer. We got a new intro and outro, and everything is officially and finally updated with my new last name. The studio part, I think I'm liking this a lot better than what we were working with. I'm definitely liking this a lot better than what we had going on. Thank you to my amazing husband for making 10 p.m. Lowe's runs and listening to any idea I had and moving everything just a hair over. Just move it just a little bit over. He was amazing and so helpful, and super appreciative to have such an amazing teammate that supports me in everything that I do. I figured with needing to change my name on everything, and it had been 2 years since the garden started, that it was just a good time for a little facelift. Some new pictures, just changing things up a little bit. So, as I said, God has been mightily moving these past few months, and I want to share a little bit with you about that and what he's been doing. So the last episode that I did on May 14th was a week before Trent's last day in the military. And that following week, he finished up all of his separation paperwork, and he had his last day in uniform. Then we packed up the camper and our dog, and we left Del Rio. And since the 23rd of May, we have been in Houston. that's where Trent's family lives, and we've just been visiting and spending time with them, especially since he hasn't gotten to spend a lot of time with them in the past 4 years, due to being in the military and just the crazy schedule that is. He doesn't get a lot of time off, and he didn't get a lot of time off. And so it's been good to just get to spend some time with family, and I haven't really gotten the opportunity to spend an abundant time with his family, and so it's been really good for me as well, and we've just really enjoyed it. And we're super thankful for the opportunity we've had to do so. Other than that, we've just kind of been hanging out in the in-between military and what our next step would be, having no clue what it would be. And God has been so good, providing for us day after day, and really just showing us every day that he has us right in the palm of his hand. And I just really think I needed this break to just focus on that and to just keep my eyes fixed on him and be present in these past few months. A huge part of the way that God has been blessing us these past few months has been financially, and truly covering every detail while neither of us had a job. When we first moved here, we had absolutely no idea how we were going to make ends meet, but we trusted the Lord, and we knew that he would provide. And that's exactly what he's done. I don't know if y'all remember the election work that I used to do. Some of you may have no idea what I'm talking about. But God provided some opportunities for me to do that, which was a huge blessing. 1 week while I was working there, when we had literally, and I'm not even exaggerating, we had $0 in our bank account. We got an unexpected, and we still have no idea why we got it or what it was for, but we got a $1,600 check. And of course, Trent called to make sure it was legit and that it was intentional, and they said yes. But again, there was no reason for it. We had no reason behind why we were getting it, except for, what other reason do you need than God is so good and really provided for us in a time when we needed it. I mean, genuinely $0 in our bank account. So that's one of the many ways. We've gotten multiple deposits straight into our bank account with no explanation. And then in the middle of June, me and Trent were driving, and the song "The Lord Will Provide" was playing in the car. And if you're not familiar, it goes, everything I need, my Father has it, my Father has it. Every single time, the Lord will provide, my Father has it, my Father has it. And as that song is playing, we find out that we're going to get triple the amount that we were expecting from the military. They were going to be paying us an amount, and we found out that it was actually going to be triple the original amount. And so again, it's just been blessing after blessing, and not just above and beyond financially, but also giving us the opportunity to spend an abundance of one-on-one time together. I mean, mine and Trent's whole relationship before we got married was long distance, only seeing each other about once a month. And then when we were together, we were also spending time with each other's families and getting to know them as well. And so when we got married, he was still in the military. And of course, we got to spend every day together, but not in the same way we've gotten to these past 3 months. We've gotten to share so many new experiences together, go on so many dates, make so many memories, and just genuinely enjoy being married. It's almost been like a 3-month-long honeymoon, which, what a gift. Like, how intentional and personal and mindful of our God to just, hey, I know that you have spent a lot of your relationship apart, and I just want to give you this time to just truly be together and enjoy being married, make memories, try new things, go new places, and just have fun together. And we realize that we are tremendously blessed to be able to get to do that. Trent mentioned a few times, he's like, many couples don't get to experience this until they're retired in their 50s and 60s. Do they just get to wake up every day with no real agenda and see what the day has for them and just enjoy each other's presence? And so it has been such a gift, and we're super thankful for it. So yeah, God has just been so good. He's been so faithful, and it's just been really cool to get a front row seat into all he's been doing. And I mean, literally front row, as he's just been working so evidently in our lives. It's just been really cool to experience. And I'm super thankful for these 3 months that I have gotten to spend one-on-one with Trent and one-on-one with God, and it's just been a blessing. This week will be the official determination of our next steps. And actually, as you're watching, if you're watching on Thursday, we should be finding out some pretty big news regarding where we'll be ending up next. So I look forward to sharing that next week. We're pretty confident that everything is like set and in motion, but I'm just going to wait until we get the official say so before I share it to the general public. But yeah, we're very excited. So yeah, there's just a little update. And again, if you're watching or listening right now, I really appreciate you guys sticking it out and being so gracious. I'm so happy to be back and sharing what God has been putting on my heart. One of the other huge blessings since we've been here has been this church that we've been going to. And honestly, God has been faithful to give us an amazing church in each place that our feet have landed. And this one actually came as a recommendation from our friends in Oklahoma. They said, hey, we know this guy who's an associate pastor at this church in Houston. Y'all should go check it out. And we did, and we absolutely loved it. So if you are in Houston and potentially needing a church or know of someone who is, I highly recommend Grace Houston. Not to be confused with Grace Church, that is also in Houston, but this one is called Grace Houston. Great worship, great pastor. Every time I've left there, I've just felt more equipped in my walk with the Lord. Like I've learned more about the Word and the Bible, and that's how I like to leave church, feeling more educated and feeling more equipped as a follower of Christ. And that's how I felt every time I've walked out of those doors. So I definitely recommend. The congregation is also so kind and welcoming, and I really highly recommend them. And I know if Trent was sitting here right now, he would say the same exact thing. We've just become huge fans of these people and this church. So I think those are all the updates for now. I do want to share a little message with you guys, and this actually comes from last week's message at church. We went over all of Acts 28. The church had actually been doing a series and going through all of Acts chapter by chapter every week. And so we came about like halfway through that, and we've really enjoyed it. But last week was Acts 28. And I'm just going to talk about verses 1 through 10. So Acts 28, verses 1 through 10. I know I shifted gears a little bit, but if you were there and would like to follow along, please do so. So it says, "After we were brought safely through, we then learned that the island was called Malta. The native people showed us unusual kindness, for they kindled a fire and welcomed us all, because it had begun to rain and was cold. When Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and put them on the fire, a viper came out, because of the heat, and fastened on his hand. When the native people saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to one another, 'No doubt this man is a murderer. Though he has escaped from the sea, justice has not allowed him to live.' He, however, shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no harm. They were waiting for him to swell up or suddenly fall down dead, but when they had waited a long time and saw no misfortune come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. Now in the neighborhood of that place were lands belonging to the chief man of the island named Publius, who received us and entertained us hospitably for 3 days. It happened that the father of Publius lay sick with fever and dysentery. And Paul visited him and prayed, and putting his hands on him, healed him. And when this had taken place, the rest of the people on the island who had diseases also came and were cured. They also honored us greatly, and when we were about to sail, they put on board everything that we needed." There's a lot to get from just those few verses, but what I want to talk about is how, as Christians, we are called to serve with no agenda of what's in it for us, but simply because that's what following Christ looks like. And you see Paul, an apostle, a preacher, a man of God, used to plant churches and minister to countless people. And yet, after surviving a shipwreck, we find Paul gathering sticks. He wasn't standing back waiting for everyone to serve him. He wasn't saying, "Don't they know who I am?" He saw there was work to be done, and he participated. It doesn't matter what God accomplishes through you. We never graduate from considering others and being willing to go get the sticks. Sometimes obedience looks like preaching to a crowd, and sometimes it looks like gathering sticks. And I encourage us all to not become so focused on doing great things for God that you become unwilling to do small things for people. It says that what you have done to the least of these, you have done to me. Serving others and loving others is one of our biggest calls. And a lot of people want to be on the stage and they want to write the book and they want to have a podcast, and I want to do all of those things. But not for the agenda of me, for the agenda of people learning about the Lord and knowing him better and coming to know him at all. With obedience, you also can't let people's opinions determine your obedience. As Paul is gathering the sticks, a viper comes out and bites him. Immediately, the people watching make an assumption about who Paul is. They think he must be a murderer. He escaped the sea, but justice caught up with him. But then Paul doesn't die. And just like that, their opinion changes completely. Now they think he's a god. In a matter of moments, Paul went from murderer to God in their eyes. People's opinions changed with the wind. I mean, that's how fickle people are. They just sway from one side to another. Not all people, but a lot of people. A lot of society that we deal with on a daily basis. And you cannot let their opinions determine your obedience to the Lord and what He's called you to do. They'll praise you one day and criticize you the next. They can misunderstand you based on one moment and completely change their opinion when they see another moment. But Paul only lived for an audience of one, and his calling didn't change based on what they thought of him. It didn't matter what they were thinking of him. God asked him to do something. God called him to do something. And he wasn't going to alter who he was because of what other people thought. Sometimes people see a portion and they think that they know you. They hear about a certain situation or a certain conversation and they think they have you all figured out. But you have to realize that we're really only called to live for an audience of one. We're only called to follow God, to please Him, to be about our Father's business. And it simply doesn't matter what anybody has to say about it, which is easier said than done. Not caring what other people think. But sometimes it's what you have to do. You can't build your obedience around the opinions of people who may change their minds tomorrow. Whether they misunderstand you or they celebrate you, just keep obeying God. And lastly, it's not for the reward. It's for obedience. Paul eventually prays for Publius's father, and he is healed. Then others on the island come, and they're healed too. The people end up honoring Paul and the others and providing what they needed for their journey. But notice the order. Paul didn't know any of that was coming when he picked up the sticks. He didn't serve because he knew it would lead to honor. He didn't pray for healing because he knew they would provide for him. Obedience came first, and the outcome came after. And I think that that's something that we have to remember as well. We don't obey God because we're guaranteed a certain outcome. We don't serve people because we know that they'll appreciate us. We don't love people because we know they'll love us back. Because a lot of people probably won't, so you shouldn't count on that one. It's not for the reward. It's for the obedience. The only reward that we should be worried about is if God is pleased with what we just did. If our actions were pleasing to Him. And maybe you're waiting for God to give you something big to do. Some big calling, some big assignment. While He's simply asking you to go gather some sticks. To serve someone, to help someone, to pray for someone. To meet a need that nobody else noticed. Don't underestimate the small acts of obedience. Because no matter the stage that you might have, we never graduate from picking up sticks. We'll never be too good for that. I feel like I find myself in a lot of gathering sticks seasons. A lot of in-betweens. And I feel like that's kind of been a season that me and Trent have been in for the past 3 months of gathering sticks, of being in tune to the Lord and spending time with the Lord, of spending time with family, of being present in everything that God has been doing and paying attention and keeping our eyes fixed on Him, being present with one another, and just focusing on what we have in front of us. Now you can focus on what you have in front of you and be excited for what's next. There are many times where we have said, we are so excited for what God has in store. We are so excited for what God's doing and what God has next for us. But we are so blessed and so thankful for this season. Because I know after this season, Trent's going to get a job. And then he's not going to come home until 6 o'clock at night or so. It'll be time for dinner, showers, bed. And we'll have weekends together, thankfully. But that's about to be our life again. He's about to go back to work. And we won't get to spend every second of every day together. And so, though we haven't been like physically gathering sticks, we have in a way been stewarding and being present in our relationship, stewarding this time that we've been giving to spend together and being present with one another, so that when he goes back to work, we can go into it strong and united. And that's just our example. There are many examples of certain seasons in seeing what sticks God would have you gather. And maybe those sticks that you're gathering are going to help keep you warm in a cold night, or help you build a house, or they're going to be sticks that you can give to someone else who might be in need. I don't know. But I just encourage us to not overlook the small things that God asks us to do, and to not worry about what we're going to get out of it, because God is God, and He always has something in store for us, something up His sleeve. So we really don't need to worry about what He's going to do with it, how He's going to redeem it, how He's going to work through it. Because if any of us know Him, we know He's good, and He's faithful, and He's never let us down. And He's worked all things together for good, and He's redeemed all things that looked like they couldn't be redeemed, starting with our very own lives. That's all I have for you guys. I know I've said it a gazillion times, but I am just genuinely so happy and so excited to be back. And I am just super thankful for each of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to the garden. Do you like the little sign? It's not the same as the studio I had in Oklahoma, but I like it. I think it's cute and dainty, and my little lamp and the little table, and I love it. And shout out to my husband again for just listening to all my ideas and being willing to do whatever it took to make my dreams come true. But I love you guys, and I'm so excited for what's in store. I'm so excited to continue sharing what God is doing in our lives. I look forward to sharing the big news next week, and I love you guys so much. But the person who loves you even more is God. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.